Okay, let's get started. Hey horror freaks, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amanda. If this is your first time here, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can get notification every single time that I post a video, and I post every single week. As you can see from the title, on today's video, I'm going to be giving you my full review with spoilers of Studio 666. This movie just came out, well, at least I watched it on Thursday, but it's coming today, Friday, on movie theaters on the US. This is a comedy horror that it's protagonized by the Foo Fighters. Now, this is the first film that it's a film and not a documentary. So this is an actual film. So like I said, all my reviews, I will spoilers. If you don't want them just to see if this was worth it or not, the description box down below, there you're going to find my spoiler-free review because I like to give you guys the options. So giving a little child disclaimer ahead, let's get into the video. Now, I wasn't sure that I was going to be able to watch this one because like something that I have said before, in case that this is your first time, I live in Puerto Rico and not every single movie that goes to the US comes here, or sometimes they have such a limited release, like for example The Curse. The Curse came out last week and I haven't been able to watch it because of how limited it was, the release, and basically I wasn't able to go and watch it, so I'm going to have a hard time trying to watch it, but once I do, I will have the review. But well, for what I have heard, it was a really good one. So basically, it was a surprise for me that I got the chance to watch it, but the reality is that I do not regret it. Now, according to IMDb, the official plot of this film is that a legendary rock band, Foo Fighters, move into an Encino mansion, steeped in grisly rock and roll and history to record their most anticipated fan album. So, like I said, the whole band is featured as themselves. Of course, the protagonist is Dave Grohl. The reality is that he did a pretty good job. So the reality is that I am not the biggest fan of comedy horror, but this one, it was enjoyable to a certain extent. Now this one is 1 hour and 48 minutes long, and if you ask me, for me it was way too long. Like, I think that they could have cut some scenes or get to the point a little bit faster, because at some point it felt like they were on a wheel on the same stuff, and I was like, can these be like move a little bit, because I want to get to the point. So basically the movie starts in the house, but in 1993, and we have Jenna Ortega. If you were looking forward to watch her on the movie, I'm sad to tell you that she only appears twice. Now, the first time she appears, it's a very similar scene to the opening scene of Scream 5. But the difference is that she doesn't have a phone call and it's pretty fast. It's on the floor, she is crawling, and she has basically her bone of the leg all out. She's crawling and someone is behind her and kills her. So that's basically the only thing that we see from her until the ending. Still was a very good choice. I mean, she knows how to do her work. So basically we have the Foo Fighters talking about doing their theme album, how needs to be big, and their manager is kind of pushing them that they need to do it good because kind of needs money. So they're like, we have basically used every single studio here, so we want something different. So he talks with a woman and he's like, we need a place for my band to do their album, and she's like, oh, I have the perfect place, which of course is the house. Now the woman is Leslie Grossman. If you have watched American Horror Story, probably you have seen her before. Of course they get into the house, but ever since they get into the house, Dave Grohl sees something through the window. Now the movie starts pretty serious, like the intro, and also the best part, saying straight away, it's the soundtrack. The soundtrack is, it's Foo Fighters, but the soundtrack is amazing. And actually, John Carpenter was one of the producers. It says right at the beginning, John Carpenter was one of the producers of the music. So I think that was a really good choice. Even at some points, you can tell like he was involved on the music, but so good. Now the movie is this mix between trying to be serious but with the comedy effect on the side, so it's like a 50-50 situation. So it's so stupid, like the movie is stupid on purpose, but for sometimes and for some scenes they're trying to be as serious as possible, and that includes the whole intro, which was really good. So they get into the house And Dave is having this writer's block or creative block, if we want to call it. He's not able to come out with a good new sound or a new riff, and he's like playing old songs because he's like, I am burned, I have nothing. So he's having a hard time, and they decide that they're going to stay on the house until they end the album. So at some point, we have Dave that is exploring the house. He finds a basement, and on the basement, he finds an old record that they used, of course, in the 90s. Of course, this is from the previous band that was recording on this house that Jenna Ortega was part of, and she got killed. Of course, they don't give much, but it's pretty obvious because the story, they cannot tell it when they get into the house. So he founds the tapes. They got, of course, unreleased music since they died. And he hears the song and he's like, this is good. This is really good. But he gets possessed by the entity that is on the house. And throughout the next 3 weeks, he gets really pushy with trying to end the song because he shows the same song that he heard. He's showing them to the rest of the band. And they are all like, that's good. He basically doesn't have an ending of the song. Like he has almost at some point a 44 minutes long song without any lyrics, just like the whole sound, and they have no ending. And he's like, the ending needs to be big, and everything comes to the ending. But the band is getting tired and is getting annoyed by this attitude of Dave. So one by one, they start to get killed because of Dave being possessed by this demon. And eventually they met their neighbor. That is this woman, and one of the band is kind of interested in her, and she gives them a warning because she used to be a groupie of the previous band. She's like, you guys need to do something because Dave is gonna, of course, get worse and is going to try to kill you. By this point already, there are two dead, delivery guy and one of the guys on the band. So the rest of the band, the one that is kind of into her, gets with her, and the others, they get to find the book that was on the same basement that he got possessed. And the book kind of resembles a little bit the one from The Evil Dead. I'm pretty sure that it was made kind of on purpose to kind of do a reference to the movie at some point. And we have the groupie slash neighbor with Raimi, and they are putting it on the room. Of course, we all know a rule of horror. If you have sex, you die. Of course, they die. Dave basically takes a chainsaw and he puts it throughout the bed and basically goes from her face to his face. So both they are dead. So of course we have two more dead. At this point of the movie, we have two remaining members of the band and Dave, and they have the book and they're trying to make an exorcism on him. They succeed. The old band kind of reappears and they take away the demon and they kind of go and they leave because everything was completed, we could say. But in this moment when they're about to leave the house and Dave is like apologizing because he doesn't remember anything, he just remember going to the basement and then nothing else. So of course he has no idea what he did. He basically even ate one of the members because he was eating before raw meat and then was eating one of them. That was by being possessed. So when they want to leave, Leslie Grossman's character and the manager appears, and they are actually the ones behind everything. Something that was kind of obvious at some point. The movie is quite predictable at moments. So the last two members, they died, and also Leslie Grossman's character. So we have the only ones remaining are the manager and Dave. Basically, the manager was the person behind that the other band was trying to finish the song, but they didn't. But Dave basically pushed the drummer of the band and they ended the song. So basically, they are not fully... So of course, everything is not safe because they finished the song. And the song kind of... It's like from the devil. Like it kind of basically gives the power for this demon to go unleash on the world, although they basically pushed them back by the book. But since they finished the song, technically they didn't. So the manager is telling him that he has been waiting 20 years for that, and that now that he finished it, it's now his moment to go solo. So basically the movie ends with Dave Grohl going solo and with the guitar on his hand, and of course we assume that he's going to play the actual song. The song, the reality is all that you're going to hear is the same sound over and over. They never really finish it. Like, you're not going to hear complete the song. But I think that they have it on release on the soundtrack, but I need to like hear it after because the reality sounded pretty good. Like I said, the soundtrack was the best part in my opinion because it was so stupid, the movie, the reality, and some stuff, but of course it was expected. Still, I think that is a really enjoyable movie if you like comedy horror even more. Foo Fighters, they did a really good job, the reality, but for me the best thing is the soundtrack. So I will give this movie a 3 out of 5 because it's not excellent, but it's not the worst either. Like, it's on the happy medium here. So I will recommend it if you like this type of movies, and I had a good time, even though it's not my type of horror, but I had a good time. And well, I think that this is all for the video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you plan on watching it. Did you watch it? What do you thought? Oh well, I think that this is all for the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm going to see you guys on the next one. Bye.